You were in Congress under Barack Obama, and we're doing a big, look back on his presidency show tonight, simply because I'm worried about Joe Biden getting elected and getting a part two of all that. What was it
Absolutely.
like being in Congress under President Barack Obama? Explain it.
Well, President Obama was, as we all know, he famously said elections have consequences. So he was supremely confident in himself. And as we know, he was in so many ways surrounded by enablers and sycophants. He was gifts were attributed to him. And I'll give him this. He's great at reading a speech off a prompter. He's got a terrific deadpan, humorous delivery. I'll give him that. But his policy ideas, which were heavily influenced by people in his administration, obviously, were clearly very, very damaging. And the consequences, of course, we continue to suffer. He had to work with Republican leadership in the House because we were the majority. We did compel, because, of course, there was a Democratic Senate majority, but we did manage to compel these folks to constrain themselves on spending because Barack Obama was willing to reduce military spending, or at least to compromise on it. So I will grant him that. And we saw the reverse of that, actually, Jesse, in the fall of 2017, when President Trump signed that really outrageously large bill that the Senate handed him, and of course the House as well. But the Senate, not having 60 votes for, the Republican point of view, had to accommodate the Senate Democratic minority on social spending. And in order to get a big bump up, which arguably was needed, although we could talk about the way they spend money, and we should. But big bump up in military spending, they had to get social spending in there. I don't blame President Trump for that. I really, truly don't. He really didn't have much of a choice. But I do blame, all of us in the public who don't understand what the federal government should be doing in our lives. And the spending on military, that's a federal responsibility. Spending on social programs, no. Let's get the federal government out of that stuff.
Nan, here's my question, though, and I don't disagree with anything you just said, but why can't I put some blame on Donald Trump? And everybody knows I'm a Trump fan. I voted for him before. I voted again.
Yeah.
But that's not the only massive, absurd spending bill he's signed. And we just got word that our deficit was $860 billion in June. We used to have tea parties because Barack Obama ran that up in a single year in June.
I know.
How can I not put some blame on him?
Jesse, well, I will say this about President Trump, and I'm going to give him, I'm among those, and I know we share so much in terms of philosophy and our thought on politics and on President Trump. He has accomplished, in so many ways, more conservative goals and more of what he promised he would do than his predecessors did. That said, and by the way, I am a great enthusiast and friend of Larry Kudlow's. I think the president's got some great, Kevin Hassett, he's got some great sound advisors in there guiding him. But the president didn't come to this as some sort of rabid fiscal conservative. That's not his thing. He is a populist. So I think he's been willing to go places on spending that obviously have given, a lot of folks who really do want to see spending constrained, have given us fits. All that said, I have tremendous trouble blaming him for any of it because he is faced with such hostility at every level, from, directly next door to him on Capitol Hill to the, popular culture, academia, media, that it would be a little hard for him, I think, to charm his opponents on the Hill into doing something differently. But, that's been said. It's sort of like, well, maybe if he spent more time, talking up the fiscal conservative aspects, maybe. But, of course, COVID has meant a massive spasm of spending. We all know that. But here's the thing, and here's what I always go back to. When we have profligate government, in which we do, and that's the thing that troubles me the most about, what I found in politics. When we have profligate government, at least we need to have tax relief and regulatory restraints that will enable us to produce maximally in our economy to cope with all this spending. And that takes me right back to President Trump.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.